Hello, welcome back to the Sacred Garden Yoga channel. I am Cindy Ola, and I'm making this video to remind you of absolutely how brilliant you are, because I know sometimes we tend to focus on everything that is going wrong with our lives, or we think that we're not good enough or that we're not worthy enough. And I want to tell you that just by being in this human body, in human form, that you are a walking, breathing miracle. I've been fascinated with the body for many, many years, and I've studied it, of course, through yoga and the energy healing work that I do. So I made a list here of some of my favorite things about the body that I wanted to share with you, just in case you're not feeling really that great about yourself or you're having a bad day. You can come back to this video if you like and remind yourself of how truly amazing you are in your design and just by being born. We're going to start off here with number one, and I wanted to talk about the electrons in your body. How often do we think about the electrons that we have running through our bodies? But that's what pretty much fuels everything. And if you think of your electrons in a more metaphysical point of view, some would say that it is the first and tiniest vehicle of your soul. Thinking of your electrons in a more scientific point of view, you have, okay, this is the number that I found on the internet. You have somewhere between 1.5 to 2.3 times 10 to the 28th electrons in your body. In other words, there are so many that they had to come up with a mathematical formula to it. And if you were to write that out, that would be approximately the number 2 with about 28 zeros written out in front of it. Okay, and if you think of what electrons are, they're quantum. In other words, they're some of the most smallest particles that exist, and they also just about move at the speed of light. They don't quite move at the speed of light, because I don't think anything can be matter and move at the speed of light according to my research, but they can come pretty close to moving at the speed of light, and at their average rate, at their average speed, they would be able to circumference the earth in about 18 seconds. Think about that. You have a cajillion of these little suckers moving around in your body, almost moving or coming pretty close to moving at times to the speed of light in their quantum. Imagine if you were to activate your electrons to their fullest potential, how much the world would absolutely expand and open up to you. Not only that, but in their essence, they make up the foundation of your energetic body. I know sometimes we think of our chakra system as our energetic body, which they are as well. But even if you don't believe in chakras, you can believe in your electrons because they are very, very real. Try this. Focus your attention and your thoughts on all of the electrons in your body. Now, I know that might sound overwhelming since you have so many of them, but think of how you are filled from head to toe with these tiny little electrical bursts of energy. Just simply bringing your mind's attention and your awareness to them, you might suddenly start to feel more alive. You might feel a tingling sensation in your fingers or maybe in your toes, or you might feel something viscerally in your body. And that is you fully coming to life through the energy that's always pulsing through your body. On to number 2, and this one is one of my most favorite things. You may have heard that you are made up of stardust, and this is absolutely true. Science has discovered that most of the elements on the periodic table are actually made up of stardust, except for hydrogen. And we know that our elemental construct is 99% nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Therefore, it has been concluded that 93% of the mass in our body is stardust. If you don't find that brilliant, then on to number 3. The human body has sacred design, and it follows the architectural design of what some people would consider that of the divine or of God, because this design is also found in a lot of nature, of course, including our human bodies. Our geometry is fractal in nature. What that means, in essence, is that we sprout. We can see that we have the main trunk of our body, and from the main trunk we sprout into 2 into 2 legs, into 2 arms, and then our fingers sprout into 5 or to 10. Fractals are found everywhere in nature. You can see it in trees and leaves and even a snowflake because it's the foundation of all of natural creation. Fractal branching geometry provides an incredibly useful way to make an extremely large surface area more compact. And we see it within the design of our lungs, for example. Our lungs are a fractal organ because we know that the interior of the lungs branch out into lots of different little arterioles and capillaries and such. And the fascinating thing is if you look at a tree, it does the exact same thing. And if you were to turn our lungs upside down, it would actually look very similar to a tree. Okay, but here's the fascinating part. Our lungs, right, they're responsible for our respiration. Well, trees are responsible for the respiration of the planet. We know that we receive oxygen from the trees. So isn't it pretty cool to think that the lungs in the trees, they have a very similar effect. I mean, the trees do to the earth what the lungs do to our body, and they have a very similar design. I don't believe that that is an accident or a coincidence in any way. To me, that is sacred in its design. Another aspect of our sacred human design, which you also find out in nature, is the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. It's found within the architectural design of so many things. You can see the golden ratio, or what's often referred to as the golden spiral, even within our ears. If you take a look at the earlobe, it takes a swirly design, and apparently the proportion of that is of the golden ratio. You can also find it when you make a fist. And you can see the proportions within the bones of our body when you take a look at your hand. And you have your phalanges, right? Your fingers, they start actually down here somewhere. So you have this length, and then you have this length, and then you have this length, and then you have that length. That also follows the golden ratio, or the Fibonacci sequence. In other words, you were built for this planet. You were built for this human experience on this earth plane, and you are made up of all of the same stuff that earth is made of. If you are having a hard time thinking, I don't belong here on this earth, I don't know what I'm doing on this planet, you were built for it. On to number 4, and I have talked about this one on other channels and videos, and it has to do with the female anatomy. The female body is a portal between dimensions. If you believe in souls, if you believe that you are a soul having a human experience, soul or spirit is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th dimension, somewhere on up there. And in order for this soul to move into this 3rd dimensional experience that we're having right now on this earthly plane, it had to pass through the female body, through the womb, the uterus, and literally out through the vagina. So the vagina, the female body, is a portal between dimensions. Number 5, every cell in your body responds to every thought that you have. Think about that. Every cell in your body responds to every thought that you have. Therefore, if you have a fearful thought, okay, that's going to kick in the sympathetic aspect of your nervous system, which then alerts your hormonal system to give off all these hormones like cortisol, epinephrine, adrenaline, which makes your heart beat faster, it dilates your pupils, it tenses up your muscles. It does all these things to prepare you for fight, flight, or freeze. And the fascinating thing is that you don't even have to be in danger for that to happen. You could be sitting on your couch, all nice and cozy, and then suddenly you hear something maybe on TV or somebody says something that worries you, and your body will immediately respond to that thought. The plus side is that you can think loving, generous, and kind thoughts, and your body will respond to that as well by giving off hormones like endorphins and dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin, all by simply thinking a thought. You can think a thought to make you feel good, or you can think a thought to make you feel bad, and your body is going to respond immediately to that thought. That is how deeply your mind and your body are connected. That actually moves us on to number 6, which takes us right into the power of your imagination. We are one of the few animal species that has the power of imagination to contemplate, to reflect, or even to work out whole scenarios in our mind and in our heads. And with that comes the superpower of changing your emotions without needing some kind of external force to do that. You can purely use the power of your imagination and your thought to create whole worlds. This is some of the foundational stuff of the law of attraction. All you need is a powerful imagination to create a whole new scene for yourself. It can be a scene of excitement, unlimited possibility, and abundance, or it can be a scene of fear and worry and stress and lack. But you have the power and the capacity to change that within yourself, within your internal framework, at any time without actually needing an outside force to create that emotion for you. And that is a pretty big deal. And that, my friends, is a human superpower. Number 7 has to do with your breath, and that your breath responds to the relationship that you're having with time, especially with the present moment. If you are resisting the present moment and are somehow wanting to control it in some way, we'll actually hold our breath to try to stop time and to control the situation. Or maybe there's something that you're resisting and you're not wanting to let go of. You know, let's say there's something happening in your life and you're resisting the situation you don't want to let go of. You're trying to hold on to it. You'll literally hold on to your breath. Now, obviously, you can't hold on to your breath forever. You wouldn't survive, but it does change the pattern of your breathing. Another example of this, let's say you see something from a distance that's about to fall. Maybe it's a lamp that's about to fall up off the table. You can't reach the lamp in time, but what do? You do something like this. You actually hold your breath because you're trying to stop time. You're trying to control the situation even though you can't. You hold your breath to hold time because you're not wanting for that lamp to fall over. All right, so our breath is literally tied to how we feel with the present moment. Paying attention to your breathing, altering your breath on purpose is a great way to get you back into rhythm with letting go of issues of control and just finding more peace in your life. On to number 8. This is the final one, and I just recently made a video about this one, but this is also one of my favorites, and it is that you are the descendant of survivors. If you think of your ancestors and everything that they have survived plagues, they have survived famine, wars, genocide, they've survived inquisitions, crusades, they've survived burnings and natural disasters, and you are the descendant of those people. You have inherited within your genetic coding how to survive and thrive on this planet. Even though I know sometimes we feel like we can't do hard things. Well, you can. You can do hard things. That is one of the gifts that your ancestors has given you. Not only that, but you have the wisdom of the whole universe inside of you. You are made for this life, for this incarnation, and to survive and live and thrive on this earth plane. That is the gift of your life, the gift of your human body. Don't forget that you are truly magnificent. Thank you, and big love and magic to you all.